What up, y'all? It's your boy Blake Anthony on Sports Talk49. I wanted to wait a little while to see how everything panned out, and I wanted to talk about some of the offseason. I know the hot topic has always been the same: Mike Evans, Mike Evans, Mike Evans. Nobody really is going to talk about Lavonte David too much. I'm going to probably talk to his agent sometime soon and get some type of information on it and see how he's feeling and see where we'll go from there. But we'll talk about the offseason a little bit, coming into scouting, coming into free agency, and then coming to the draft. So we just start with the top. Mike Evans, the defense, free agents. Mike Evans. So he's going to test free agency. I mean, you want to see what you're going to make. And will it match? And then he's going to go back and tell the Tampa Bay Buccaneers what teams are offering him when they see if they want to match or get somewhere close. Mike should offer some type of discount because they paid him what he wanted to get paid, and he didn't play. A lot of it was soft injuries like hamstring, and then the other one was just a tragic injury that sidelined him for quite some time. So, and then he didn't really get much out of him. Didn't get a 1,000-yard season, and due to it because it was him not being available due to injury. So Mike Evans is just the future is a big story right now. You know, veteran Mike Evans confirmed he'll play in 2026. His agent had to put out, don't believe the hype that you see on social media, what I troll a lot about. You guys need to just do just 5 seconds worth of research to make sure the information that you're getting is credible, because a lot of these guys are taking advantage of you with clicks and likes. Mike could leave Tampa if another team makes a better offer. Multiple reports say Evans is finishing his career, and won't retire, but his Bucs future is uncertain. He has considered his options in free agency. He's done this before. Coaching staff keeps changing around. Bowles hired his son as an assistant. It's cool. I don't know why anybody would have a problem with that. I've watched people for years on years in this league do the same thing, hire their sons, son-in-laws, cousins to, people to come in there. And if the son's really interested in coaching, that's how you do it. You get him to get an assistant job, something tactful that he can get his hands on and get the feel of how the business works. I have no issues with that, as I've had it with no other issue with anybody else doing that. So the offensive strategy, I think that they should do this. Oh, the other thing, before I get into offensive strategy and things like that, I knew it was something. I tried to take a pause for a second. Trading for Maxx Crosby, the GM of the Raiders, and of course the Bucs GM, Jason Light. Spytech and Light are good friends. Possibly they can work out a trade. Do you want to give up draft picks for him? Like, if you give up a first round for Micah Parsons, that's worth a first round pick. Nobody you're going to draft is going to be worth that value of Micah Parsons. So I wasn't mad at Green Bay doing that. Maxx Crosby's 28. You can at least get maybe 4 years of max potential out of him if you decide you want to go on a winning run right now. It all depends on what you want to do, but you do have a lot of pieces. And I'm not really keen on giving up draft picks. You could get Trey Henderson and not give up picks, but you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to pay Evans and pay Hendrickson. It's going a lot's going to have to tell on Mike Evans. You got young receivers on the team, and then Chris Godwin will be the veteran. I don't think you should trade Chris Godwin because he turned down an ass load of money to come back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to stay there with his guys after an injury. And New England offered him a boatload of money. And lo and behold, they played in the Super Bowl. How do you think he feels about that? And he stayed there with the team, and then here you are trying to trade him off just a year later. Contract's crazy, but that's just what it is. When Chris Godwin's on it, he's on one. And make a show flashes, but kind of disappeared. McMullen was coming back from injury. He'll look forward to playing again next year or having a full season. Tez Johnson, I don't know. We'll see. He's growing and learning. I think you got to put him in winning situations. If that's what your offense looks like without, and you don't really have a stud tight end at the moment, unless you want to play the guy I've been hollering about, Devin Colt, A lot of what ifs on offense, but most of your star power is on offense. But back to what I said, I don't think it's right to trade Chris Godwin after he turned down money and gave you a discount to keep him, and you needed wideouts last year due to the injuries. You do need to get some offensive line depth. There's some guys I'm gonna post out. I'm gonna post a lot of guys that I think should be looked at if it becomes available. It's really gonna be what availability is and the offense, in the draft and stuff like that when it comes up versus also free agents, who you can get, who's available, who fits. You're gonna have to get another corner. You're gonna have to get safety depth. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of things. Linebackers. There's a lot of holes that need to be filled, and it's going to be tough. Stability around Baker Mayfield. I don't know if a lot of people like this. I do. You got to get some type of quality backup behind him so he's not forced to play hurt because you don't have an adequate backup. Bring back Jameis Winston. Why not spin the wheels on Jameis Winston? Get him in there for a couple games if you need him to. Get some type of quality backup or draft a quarterback later in the draft. I don't know. Maybe you don't need to waste a pick on the draft, big pick on a quarterback, when you can get an adequate veteran option. You need something like that to bring for backup for Baker Mayfield. And Jameis Winston is a great team player, fits the team very well. Attitude, very good attitude, great leader. It would fit here. I don't know how a lot of you guys feel, but it would be a great fit as a backup quarterback for this team. So I would think you need to bring stability around him, not a competition, in my opinion. If Baker's your guy. If not, if he's just a bridge quarterback and you don't want to re-sign him to a longer deal, I don't know. But you got to have some type of adequate backup behind your starting quarterback. Of course, pass rush is the issue. You got to get to the quarterback. You watch teams that can get to the quarterback with 4. Makes it really hard to throw the ball. You have 7 in coverage when you could do that. And sometimes the team's got to leave another guy back to block so you can get the pass off. You've got to get to the quarterback. Got to protect the quarterback, and you got to get to the quarterback. Definitely got to do that. And like I said, it's going to be hard. There's a lot of holes to fill. Lavonte David coming back would be huge to come back. It would be one less pressure to have to worry about to fill a veteran linebacker spot in there. Maybe you bring Denzel Perriman in from San Diego. I don't know. Maybe you bring in some other linebackers that are be available. I ain't got the free agent list in front of me right now, but there's some options you want to bring in as some help if Lavonte hurts his knee or his ankle or something like that. You always got to look at those type of options. We talked about pass rush, secondary, depth and durability. Always been a question. Got to keep these guys healthy. Dean has been hurt on and off, more on than off. You got to get some type of depth. You got 2 rookies that you drafted last year. They played extremely well. Keep growing with that. Keep building some guys. Keep putting some guys in and get some cornerback depth. Maybe some undrafted guys. Maybe somebody that fits your system. Big, tall, lanky corners that could play spots. We talk about contracts. Anton Winfield, he needs to take a step forward. He was kind of like a man on a milk carton at some points in the season. And I think he needs to step up. Like when Derwin James is on the field, you got to account for him coming down in the box covering tight ends and coming down covering the best team's wide receivers on in-breaking routes and things like that. He's got to make definitely a bigger impact coming into the season, especially with the contract that he's given, in my opinion. And a physical corner they need to add. They got to figure out if they want to be. If you want to be a contender, or you want to be, or transitional, or you're trying to retool. If you're trying to transition, if I'm saying this right, yeah, if you're trying to transition into a Super Bowl team, then you need to make those moves to fight for the next 2-3 years. If you're trying to retool, you get younger around Baker Mayfield, the defense and stuff like that, and try to make it work. The Bucs have an option. You could technically do both, depending on what availability and things like that come, depending on what this team wants to do coming in. Like I said, there's a lot. I wish it was just one area that they could focus on, but it is not. It is a plethora of things that they need. You can get away if the defense, if you could just get elite pass rushers, that'll help immensely on everything else. I would say on defense, getting Lavonte back would be key. You can get corners or wherever it is in free agency or draft, or if a guy falls or he's injured and you can wait till he comes back. Whatever that is, as long as you spend your money on defensive line, it takes loads of pressure off of the secondary and the linebackers. That's my opinion on that. Offense, you got to address the wide receiver position. If Mike Evans, you decide you're not going to bring Mike Evans, if the price is too much, you have to do something with that damn tight end position, and you're going to need a running back. So, like, if I'm Tampa, you keep on to Baker, extend Evans short term if it makes sense, draft the edge in 1, draft a wide receiver or corner in 2, stop patchwork free agent signings, build through youth. You're not rebuilding, you're refining. Those are the things that they got to look at as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers if you're trying to move on and try to win this division, keep winning this division, and win playoff games. You got to win playoff games. I don't care if it's 12-4, 11-5, 10-6. Just win playoff games. That's really what matters. The overall record is nice, but if you don't win the playoff games, it really doesn't matter. Liam Cohen, 12-4, out the first round. It's nice. It's a change for the fans. They got to see some winning football, but in the end, got to win some playoff games. Bowles, too, is 1-1, but they got to do it again. And that's why Light and all the upper brass, they love him because you've made it work with these are supposed to be the doldrums for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brady, you're still paying Brady $28 million. He's retired. You were still paying him. You got all these guys leaving older, like the Super Bowl-esque era is dipping out. You're in a huge bind of contract dilemma. You were lucky to stumble upon Baker Mayfield and got him on his last leg, got a huge productivity out of him. You were able to re-sign him to a second contract, and you're still kind of dealing with the cap problem because you still got older players on your team that you're trying to hold on because you don't have adequate youth. You're going to have to replace Logan Hall, another defensive lineman. So it's a lot that Todd Bowles has had to deal with, and he's won. And like everybody wants to say, oh, well, does he save his job if he gets another 9-8 season or another 10-6 season? That team, there's a lot of holes in that team, especially with the free agent, with the salary cap situation. It was a lot to deal with to keep this team afloat, and not many guys will do it. Not many people want the job. Not a lot of people want that job and want to be in that position. They want to be in a position like the Patriots where you have immense cap space and a young quarterback still under contract, rookie contract. Those are easier winning situations. Todd Bowles took the hard route. Took the hard route with the Jets. Didn't work out. Who else has worked with the Jets? And now you came here, not an as bad situation. You were already coaching the defense for this team. And now you're coming on as the head coach, and you got to take over the problems and try to make them work. That's your job as a head coach. You got to make things work when they're unworkable. You got to find ways to do it. And he's done that for quite a while. I think last season, along with the injuries, rubber met the road. I think they maximized the most that they could get out of some of the players that they got out that were mediocre or average players. I don't want to call them adult mediocre, but average players. And I think you maximize with that. And that means you've got other guys to replace these guys. And you can only do that in free agency and the draft and giving players on your roster a chance to develop and become the guys that you want them to be. That's what I think. That's what I got so far in this offseason. That's what I feel about it. I don't know how you guys feel. Just let me know. And well, then it says we always do. You're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do with this, entirely up to you. See you guys next time. Peace.